Americans of Reddit, what is the worst big city in the USA and why? Every big city has parts within them that are the worst. So any answer could be correct. Crime isn't as high as some people say, although there have been signs of it rising in some places. I'd say that you'd be fine in the right part of any city. There's reasons to have pride in every place in the United States regardless of their downsides because of all the history and people that live there, except Phoenix, which shouldn't exist because it is a monument to man's arrogance. Jackson, Mississippi. Very high murder rate, low education, failing infrastructure. Edit. Yes, I know Jackson isn't a very big city. It just sticks out as being in bad shape. I know I said Philly earlier, but I rescind that. It's Albuquerque. I stayed there for a few months, and holy shit was it a dump. I was working there and can't believe how shitty people were to me. I worked all around the country at the time as a subcontractor for power companies, not a super popular job. But as a city that feels like they want to take pride in being nice. They were really shitty weird for no reason. I worked in middle of nowhere red states, and downtown blue states. And Albuquerque had the worst of both of them jammed into one city. I think every city has great parts. But emo worst parts of Baltimore is pretty out there. I'm kind of shocked at how many people in this thread are firing off cities that they're actively admitting they've never been to. Like, cool, you've heard Detroit sucks, but how the fuck do you know if you haven't been there? Also, different people value different things. Like NYC is loud, dirty, expensive, and super heterogeneous, but some people love that energy and can't imagine living anywhere else. Other people despise NYC and wouldn't live there even if you paid them to do it. And neither type of person is right or wrong, they just value different things. Gary. Fucking. Indiana. All my homies hate Gary, Indiana. I'm not American, but Jackson has to be the worst city I've ever stepped foot in. Springfield. Charleston, WV. Used to be so vibrant and bustling, was supposed to become NYC in the mountains, is now a dead zone with a struggling infrastructure and an economy that can't keep itself afloat. Add on the homeless problem, which makes all of downtown look like a giant skid row. Nice try, Russia. IGT people who just don't like cities in general. Scrolled through and did not find my. I haven't been to every city in the US. But Baltimore could use a little cleaning up since we're on the subject. Has no one said Camden? It's definitely Camden, New Jersey. Boston is amazing. Very historical and with great cuisine. So much to do. But God almighty, getting around in the city is a nightmare. It's like they haven't modernized their infrastructure for anything more than 1950 levels of traffic. It's crazy. Miami. Year-round tropical paradise? Year-round hot garbage. Hot, humid garbage. A crime-ridden, bug-infested, trash-strewn, traffic-choked third world shithole. The official flower is mildew. The official smell is decomp. The official birds are mosquitoes and palmetto bugs, which is just a cute name for giant cockroaches. Absolutely abysmal education means the native population is as dumb as a box of rocks. Oh, but houses are so cheap, they sure are, when they're poorly built, slum adjacent, and 20 traffic clogged miles from any decent services or shopping. Just overlook the property taxes, too. Better hope your condo building was properly maintained. Uninsured driver, slip and fall scam central. And go good luck finding anyone who speaks English. What's really hilarious is the handful of companies relocating their citing crime in the cities they're leaving. Had they read the news, they'd know Miami is not Singapore or Geneva. Crypto hub? Yeah, good luck with that. Rising sea level can't come soon enough. In my opinion, of the ones I've been to, Miami anywhere outside of the nightlife scene is absolutely dangerous. For example, Wynwood, the art district, is literally in the middle of one of the worst possible neighborhoods. You enter or exit Wynwood from the wrong direction, don't stop at red lights. Miami. Hot year-round, traffic, sex trafficking amongst other crime, expensive, hurricanes, even residents complain, smells. Many people talking about Detroit without having been there. It's not too bad actually. I'd put the worst city is though. NYC was so crowded and touristy, bit stinky in areas, but so much to do. So transit walking friendly. Not the biggest city, but the worst. I've been to Youngstown, Ohio. It was major steel producer in the 1940s, but after the mills shut down, the mafia basically had their way with it. Now there's really no reason for it to exist besides the small university, too, which the locals all refer to as you screwed up if you take the sketchiest parts of any major city you've been to. That's basically all of Youngstown. Midland, Odessa, Texas. It's two miserable cities close to each other in the middle of the Permian oil field. You're hours away from any other real city in West Texas. The population is basically all transitory, meaning it doubles in size during an oil boom and empties during a bust. When oil booms, it jacks the prices on everything. Traffic sucks cause everyone can only live or stay in Midland or Odessa. Traffic fatalities there are the worst in Texas. I almost get in a wreck every time I drive down the parking lot rows at Walmart. When it rains, I get the crude oil stench in my neighborhood. The meth is pretty top-notch though money is why I stay. I hated growing up by Orlando. For one, brick roads fucking suck, but also there's just too many damn tourists all the time. Entire city's one giant tourist trap. Kind of the opposite of most of the responses here, but Salt Lake City is surprisingly pretty cool, but it's surrounded by a sea of the most generic, milquetoast, ugly architecture, corporate chain strip mall suburban Stepford bullshit I've ever seen. Suburban Las Vegas isn't far behind. Everyone railing on Detroit this, Detroit that. El Paso, man. It's just gross. The worst cities are the most boring cities, the most devoid of personality. So I'm going to say Jacksonville, Florida. Thread says big cities and people are listing places under 1 million MSA lol. Anyways, Houston. Really spread out city with bad traffic, a light rail that sucks outside of the red line, extremely high temps almost all year, trash Gulf Coast beach nearby, and just generally barren looking and not aesthetically pleasing. Though the people aren't bad, it's cheap to live, the food is great, and it's more integrated than lots of other US cities. So even my least favorite US big city isn't all bad. Los Angeles. Holy hell, that city is the worst designed city I have ever been to. It's like someone built a bunch of single-family houses with a bunch of freeways and then called it a city. Then they complain about the homeless problem. Gary, Indiana. People in here clearly have never been to Detroit. Houston is one big spread-out strip mall. Los Angeles. Worst traffic in the world, takes forever to get anywhere, and once you get to your destination you're lucky if it's one of the few spots that isn't irreparably busted up and filthy. The people there are awful at worst and fake at best. Thank God for the food, or that place would be better nuked off the face of the planet. The top answers are the most wholesome in the history of Reddit. Anyone saying Chicago has obviously never been to Chicago. Chicago is rated one of the best cities. Everyone gets hung up on the crime, and yes, it has pretty bad crime in certain neighborhoods, but Chicago doesn't even have the highest crime rate in Illinois, let alone the US. It has top-tier public transportation, a beautiful lakefront, diverse and awesome restaurants, and just a lot to do. City Museum Inn is wonderfully unique. Check it out, and especially bring the kids. I love Portland, Oregon, but damn, the pandemic really butt-fucked an awesome city there. I visited when I was 12, loved it. Roughly half a year before the pandemic, summer 2019, I visited again and it was still great. Come back in March 2021 and it was an absolute shell of what it was. There were still some cool things around, food trucks, cafes, rose garden, etc., but it wasn't the same. I was telling my GF how much I love the city, but seeing it felt like a kid learning that Santa isn't real. Going to one of the parks and some creep followed us and I made a wrong turn and this street outlet was full of trash and had a sizable homeless encampment. It has changed a lot in a short amount of time. St. Louis. Nobody lives downtown, violent crime is off the scale, and unlike Detroit the suburbs are no refuge. I have relatives in the St. Louis burbs and dread visiting. They're excited to take us to the city center and there's virtually nothing there. Los Angeles is fucking terrible. Want to drive? It's going to suck. Want to walk, bike, or take transit? Also going to fucking suck. Want to do more than 2 things in a day? Be prepared to spend 3 hours in traffic, spend a metric fuck ton of money, and hate every second of it. But at least it's sunny, I guess? I hesitate to answer this because the worst cities in America aren't big cities. It's medium and small-sized cities that have been hit the hardest by economic changes. Places like Erie, Indiana, Pontiac, Michigan, Bridgeport, Connecticut, and Lowell, Massachusetts. Industrial cities that lost all their jobs and experienced depopulation and rising crime. But I don't know, maybe Hartford. There's just nothing there. It's insurance companies and street gangs. That's it. Biloxi, Mississippi. No redeeming qualities unless you like sweating your balls off at 7 a.m. and Waffle Houses on every corner.
I hope you all are doing well, and thanks for watching. Don't forget to like if you enjoyed this video. If you have something to say critically or otherwise, leave a comment. And if you enjoy this content, don't forget to subscribe to see more of it. I hope you all have wonderful and fulfilled lives.